Assalamu alaikum. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Rabbana la tu'akhidhna in nasina aw akhtana. Rabbana wa la tahmil alayna isran kama hamaltahu ala allazina min qablina. Rabbana wa la tuhammilna ma la taqata lana bih. Wa'fu anna waghfir lana warhamna anta maulana fansurna ala al-qawmil kafirin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli waj'al li waziran min ahli Haruna akhi ushdud bihi azri washriku fi amri kay nusabbihaka kaseera wa nazkuraka kaseera innaka kunta bina basira wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Welcome, dear friends. Inshallah, we will continue or actually start a new section in the Shining Proof, which is the second station from the book, The Race, the 15th Race, second station, page 604 in the book. So last we completed was the first station of this Shining Proof, where we discussed, as I recall, went over the verses of the section Fatiha, and then we saw the testimonies of the messengership of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and all the testimonies that everything in the universe, where the universe speaks as well to the messengership of Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. So we will start this new station. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, and from him do we seek help. One of the truths contained in the last verse of Surah Al-Fatiha, which indicates the comparison of the people of guidance and the straight path. When we say Ehdina Sirat al-Mustaqim, and then the Sirat al-Ladhina anamta alayhim, Ghayril Maghdubi alayhim waladdallin, Ameen. So, and then the people of misguidance and rebellion. So one is the straight path, and then the other is the misguided path, which is the people of misguidance and rebellion, and is the source of all the comparisons in the risale-i. So showing us, putting us on the right path is the purpose of what guidance is for us, including this book, the Risale-i, and is expressed also in wondrous and miraculous fashion by the verse of Surah Al-Nur. So this section of Surah Al-Nur has this verse, God is the light, so light of the heavens and the earth. The parable of his light is as if there were a niche and within it a lamp. The lamp enclosed in glass, the glass as it were a brilliant star, lit from a blessed tree, an olive, neither of the east nor of the west, whose oil is well nigh luminous, though fire scarce touched it. Light upon light, God guides whom he wills to his light. God sets forth parables for men, and God knows all things. So this is from section 24 of the Quran, verse 35. And in the same section, there is a subsequent verse, or the unbeliever's state is like the depths of darkness in a vast, deep ocean, overwhelmed with billow, topped by dark clouds to the end of the verse. So I just pulled these verses so we can go over them here as well. So from 35 to I think 38. So talking about the light. We discussed this. Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. We just read this. And then it continues that light shines through houses of worship, which God has ordered to be raised, and where his name is mentioned, he is glorified there morning and evening at all times. By men who are not distracted either by buying or selling, so whatever we are doing in life, from God's remembrance or performing prayer or paying alms tax. They fear a day when hearts and eyes will tremble, hoping that God may reward them according to the best of their deeds and increase them out of his grace. And God provides for whoever or whomever he wills without limit. And the verse about the section with no light for the disbelievers. As for the disbelievers, their deeds are like a mirage in a desert, which the thirsty perceive as water. So like a mirage in a desert, which may look as if there's water, but when they approach it, they find it to be nothing. Instead, they find God there in the hereafter, ready to settle their account. And God is swift in reckoning. Or their deeds are like the darkness in a deep sea covered by waves upon waves, toppled by dark clouds. Darkness upon darkness, if one stretches out their hand, they can hardly see it. And whoever God does not bless with light will have no light. So total darkness, total despair, no light at all for unbelief, the state of unbelief. It is proved in the first ray that the first verse above, the light verse. Okay, I see a hand, Brother Ali, please go ahead.
First of all, the first verse, ayah, mentioned here, it ends at light upon light, God guides whom he will to his light. This is another subject. God guides whom he will to his light. It doesn't mean if God doesn't guide me, I will never get it. So if a person says, I don't believe in God, anything, I'm not convinced about it, and sees this verse, says, oh, that's what God didn't let me believe or receive his reality, that is not my choice. It may say, misunderstand this ayat. We have to be careful about it, but it is, I didn't raise my hand for this. But for the last one here, God sets forth parables for man. Parable in the original language is emthal, el-emthal. Giving this example, it is a parable. So, and God knows all things is another subject. Here, we have to understand that all these kind of verses, all these kind of descriptions in terms of this world are parables. We shouldn't forget that. They are parables. We cannot read these verses literally. It is impossible. It says it is parable. This light, God is the light of the heavens and the earth. It is a parable. You have to try to understand, oh, so what? I have to understand. What do I have to understand from it? This questioning is necessary. That is why some people may intend to read it literally and saying that, I don't know what it means. It doesn't make sense to me. God is the light of what? God is a light? What are you talking about? What do you mean? Do you think the universe is created by a light? This is a parable. This is a parable. We shouldn't also, as the readers of the Quran, we shouldn't also take this attitude or this kind of interpretations. We have to be careful too. That's it, I want to say.
Alhamdulillah, thank you. So the verse, God is the light of the heavens and the earth. Yes, parables. And also this unbeliever state in the depths of darkness. You can imagine this using our imagination, how that feels like with no hope, nothing. So another examples. It is proved in the first ray that the first verse above, the light verse, contains 10 allusions to the risale-i Nur. It miraculously foretells that Quranic commentary. This was the main reason for the name Nur. Light was given to the risale-i Nur. In consequence of the description in the comparison of a journey of the imagination in a section of the 29th letter of a miracle resembling that of the noon of Na'budu in the word Nur in this extraordinary verse. So the noon kind of hints at the light or the guidance. The traveler in the supreme sign, Ayatul Kubra, questioned the whole universe and every sort of being in order to seek, find, and learn about his creator. He came to know him through 33 ways and cogent proofs with the certainty of knowledge and the vision of certainty. The untiring, insatiable traveler. Untiring, insatiable, thirsty, looking for meaning to life. Journeyed to with his mind, heart, and imagination through the centuries and the levels of the heavens and earth, and seeing and inspecting the whole world as a city, he mounted his reason sometimes on the wisdom of the Quran, sometimes on philosophy, and gazing at the most distant levels through the powerful telescope of imagination, he saw reality as it is, and in part informed us of it in the Supreme Sign, which is one of the works of this author, which we read some time ago as well, the Supreme Sign. Now, of those many worlds and levels, he entered on his journey of the imagination, which had the meaning of a comparison and was completely in conformity with reality. We shall explain by way of example only 3 levels extremely concisely in order to illustrate the comparison at the end of Surah Al-Fatiha, the comparison of belief and unbelief, the path, the right path versus the wrongful path. However, this will be only from the point of view of the power of reason. We refer you to the Risale-i Nur for the other observations and comparisons. All right, so he's going to elaborate a little bit on the comparison between belief and unbelief, but before that, let Brother Ali please go ahead.
Before going into this example, first example, second example, follow, I think. Yeah, examples continue. Now, examples of how Risale-i Nur, and this commentary on the Quran, utilizes this name of the Quran. You know that we know all that. Quran describes himself as Nur, describes the Prophet Siraj Nur ve Munuran ve Munir as the one who spreads, scatters, Nur. Again, Munir means light. Now, and Allah himself is describing himself Nur. So in the sentence it says here, it is proved in the first ray that, forget about this, the first verse about the first verse, Nur verse, yeah, this one, yeah, this verse first, all of them, it is one verse, all of them, yeah. Now, the light verse, which is called the Ayatun Nur also, contains 10 allusions to the Risale-i Nur. Now, this is important. This verse contains illusions, not direct, but illusions to the Risale-i Nur. Now, let's highlight here, if you don't mind, contains 10 allusions to the Risale-i Nur. Now, it is a big claim, isn't it? No, not all of them. No, forget about all. The light verse contains 10 allusions to the Risale-i Nur. Light verse. The light verse, the light verse, the light verse. Yep. No. Yes, that's it. Now, let's concentrate on this. It's a big claim. Lots of the people are confused about this kind of language. As if the author is saying, the Quran in this verse alludes to the Risale-i Nur. Oh, it's an extremely big claim. We have to admit it. What do you mean the Quran is mentioning about you? Are you going to really use this kind of interpretations in order to justify and get some authority about yourself, as if it is confirmed by the Risale-i Nur, it's by God, by the verse, it means Quran. Quran confirms Risale-i Nur. What are you saying? No one claimed this. Now we have to understand this kind of sayings in the Risale-i Nur, here and there we can find it. It is not the only way. We have to understand that the author uses, we will see, as the universe, semawat wa ars in the language of the Quran, the universe is nothing but the reflections of the qualities of its creator, which is, reflections means, in this parable, in the verse, the parable says if you want to understand who or what is the creator of this universe, you have to look at the universe, which human beings cannot look at it, cannot investigate anywhere but in the universe. You will see that the something is reflecting there, manifesting there in the universe, points to, like the manifested, reflected light points to its source. The universe also points to its source. So you have to understand what you believe in terms of the witnessing of the universe as it reflects the light of its creator. Light means the qualities are coming here, manifesting on the earth, and you understand this. This method of belief in ghaib is fundamental in Risale-i Nur's methodology to understand what the existence is, what the Quran is talking about, and unites them. Methodologically, that is what Risale-i Nur follows and claims to follow at least. It claims that I am following nothing but the witnessing of the universe and witnessing of the Quran at the same time, hand in hand, confirming each other and pointing to the ghaib, means source of its existence and its qualities, all the other pillars of belief. Do you believe in angels? Yes. Why? Because universe witnesses to it. Do you believe in the hereafter? Yes. Why? The universe witnesses to it. Quran also alludes to it, gives evidence to it. Do you believe in the messengership? Yes, because witness says if you cannot really get the aim, ultimate purpose of creation, which must be explained by its creator, you need to receive the creator's message. And as a created being, you need to receive to it by something that you can communicate in human terms, directed, employed by the creator. Why? Everything points to it. It must be, there must be a meaning in the existence of this universe. So the meaning needs to be explained by its creator. All of them believe in ghaib is driven from the Quran and the universe and supporting each other, pointing to the necessary existence of the Quran. That is what the beginning of the verse says, God is the light of the heavens and earth. So ghaib is, God is the light and, of the heavens and earth. If you want to understand God, which is belief, and belief matters, you have to use this universe. And at the same time, Quran says, I am Nur as well. God's speech, it must give me the evidence and the way of explaining and understanding of the existence of the universe. Here, the light verse contains 10 allusions to the Risale-i Nur, means to the method that the Risale-i Nur claims to follow. We have to see whether it really acts in this way as it claims to be or not. Be open-minded. when you look at all the belief matters are presented in this way as the Quran and the universe witnesses to ghaib. So author is saying, I am following this method. Otherwise, not saying that Quran authorizes me. We should be reasonable to understand this kind of languages. Of course, Nursi says, usually it does this, says it, and leaves what it states what he wants to say, and leaves it to the capacity of the reader. Of course, some people I have heard, many, the Quran points and confirms the risale-i. So it is guaranteed. Of course, this is an extreme understanding. At the same time, no. Risale-i has nothing to do with the Quran. Another extreme. Risale-i claims that it is following the method of the reality of the universe, reality of the Quran, God, and reality of truthfulness of ghaib. This is methodological claim, if you like. It as if we should say this. We should read this sentence like this. This light verse contains allusions to the way that the Quran, the universe, must be understood under the examples or following the examples of light. Risale-i Nur follows it. That is what the author should mean this. Otherwise, okay, I am guaranteed. No, author himself says, no, whatever I say, think about it, use your reasoning yardstick criterion. If you don't like it, if it doesn't make sense, throw it. Forget about it, reject it. If it makes sense, accept it. So we should neither completely deny that Risale-i Nur has nothing to do with the Quranic method, nor saying that it is authorized by the Quran. But we have to also follow the method as the universe and the Quran mentions about or points to witnesses to ghaib. This is a reflection relationship, tejalli relationship. That is what we should understand. Thank you. It causes lots of problems in minds of some people. That's why I needed to. So if someone from Turkey especially comes to you saying that the Nursi, forget about this man. He says, I'm authorized by the Quran. I am a guarantee man, or this kind of things. Taking these languages or the sentences in the Quran, pinpointing it, and not really trying to understand what the author is saying. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Lee. So I'm kind of curious, is this unique to Nursi to speak like this, or like other scholar work also, they speak like this? Like, is this a pattern on how they do it?
Oh, I don't know. Everybody says something, but rarely people say directly that Quran authorizes me. I have not seen anybody like this. But indirectly, some people, extreme cases, some people they are extreme cases. God employed me, this kind of claims, Ahmadi, Baha'is, this kind of people, claim that. But these are extreme cases, exceptional cases. But Risale-i Nur never, or Said Nursi never, the author never does this. But this kind of languages should be understood in this way. That is what I mean.
Right. So, like we can say, like I was inspired by this verse to, based on my observation of the universe and confirming it with the verses and myself. And that's what I'm sharing in the work I'm having. So that's another way of understanding.
Yeah, you are right. I'm sorry I interrupted you if you want to say something.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. Yet it says, I am very, very much inspired by this verse and by this parable, and I am using this parable as my method. So I can say whatever I did, this verse really refers to my method. It means what this verse is really saying, or what this parable is really referring, you can see the method I am following. You can find it there. One example of the illusions.
That makes sense, Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Farah, go ahead.
Thank you for, I guess, raising that problem. It's helpful to think about it. At the same time, in the previous, in the part that we were discussing, I'm sure in the original language, it's much more clearer in other ways, but the term illusion that he's using is not isolated in terms of, I know we are understanding it based on our context, and we're trying not to get too much into confusing concepts that are not relevant to our own, let's say, matters of belief in approaching things in our own lives. But for example, the word illusion is, it's not unrelated to an entire historical context and other authors using these words in this particular types of contexts. So that's one thing that was coming to my mind. And related to it was, I was wondering that because at least in the language that we are reading in front of us, it says that it miraculously foretells. And even though we understand this subject as saying that Nursi claims that his method is following that which can be found in this verse, reading this sentence also indicates, at least to me, just reading it in English as it is, that it is also being told to him. And so he's claiming based on a level of understanding or confirmation that he gets to. And so that those were the points in my mind. And I was also curious if others wanted to share what is the allusion, I guess, to the letter Noon, both in Nur and Noon of Na'budu? Is this something apparent to you at this moment? For example, is it speaking to the fact of like, unity, divine unity in something to the expression of Nur, of the heavens and the earth, so everything. And then we've discussed this in Na'budu, the idea that everything around us together worships and helps each other acknowledge the existence of the Creator. So there's this sense of unity in acknowledgement. So, but I will admit these expressions don't seem to me too regular, and they spark questioning and interest as to why someone would take a letter and make a commentary out of it. So yeah, I know we make them very reasonable for ourselves, but it's also helpful to know the fact that they're related to the uses of the terms, in other ways.
Okay, good. Let's go to the first one, although I don't like dealing with two questions at the same time. The first one is, it miraculously foretells that Quranic commentary, Risale-i Nur, to the Risale-i Nur, of course, illusion, we shouldn't forget that it is not direct mentioning. To the Risale-i Nur, it miraculously, the Quran, all the verse, Nur verse, light verse, miraculously foretells that Quranic method or commentary. Risale-i Nur, Quranic commentary. Why miraculously foretells? Because Quranic commentary, Risale-i Nur is the Quranic commentary. Because Quranic commentary, be careful, because the Nur verse itself says God is the light of the heavens and the earth. That is Quranic. That is very Quranic. So Risale-i Nur, or the author claims that Risale-i Nur follows this Quranic methodology. So makes its commentary on this methodology, as the Quran does. How the Quran represents God to us as the light of the heavens and the earth. That is what God is, light of the heavens and the earth. So we have to understand it is a parable. Now, this is not a straight telling, like constitutional articles. No, it is not a palpable things it's talking about. It is just abstract notion. So that is what we have to interpret this parable, that in order to believe in the hereafter, the verse says, in the hereafter included, but in God, in ghaib, in general. So in order to believe that ghaib is really, really true and exists, we have to follow this Quranic methodology. We have to write our commentaries on this Quranic methodology. That is what the Risale-i Nur claims to be. I am following the Quranic methodology to believe in the ghaib in general, all belief matters, as the Quran does. And this is a claim. You have to see if Risale-i Nur says something different from using the witnessing of the universe and asking the reader to believe in ghaib. Have you ever seen that? I've never seen it. Following the Quranic methodology, as it is seen in the parable of the verse of Nur verse, or a verse of light. That is one thing. Another, Nun of Na'budu, one word. In the word Nur, extraordinarily coincides each other. Oh, come on, as our friend Farah said, one letter Nun, which means Nur. Come on, it is too much, isn't it? If I see Ali, Elif in the Quran, it alludes to be Ali. Why? It says It's comic, isn't it? It's unacceptable. But we have to see, look, Nun of Nabudu, not any Nun. Nun of Nabudu. Now, underline here, Nabudu. Nun of Nabudu. Who's Nabudu? No, we read in the commentary on Tafsir, commentary or on the verse İyyâke na'budu ve iyyâke nesta'in, in the section of Fatiha, Nabudu represents what? All the universe. everything. So if while we are praying, we should pray the nabudu, all created beings, all of them, worship you. It means worship you, acknowledge that you are our source of existence. So what God describes himself as Nur in this verse, I am the Nur of the Semawat Ard. So it means heavens and earth, the universe. So universe says, we declare your glory, we worship you. Universe is worshiping means declaring his glory, making tasbihat of God, declaring his glory. So Quran says, Allahu nuru semawati wal ard. They are talking about the same thing. Because not any nun, nabudu, nun of nabudu includes the universe, and it means nur. Yes, ayat says, Allahu, what the universe worships, including human beings, worship is the light of the heavens and the earth. So rather than taking it literally, we have to understand that the author is emphasizing on the methodology of the Quran and the methodology of the risale-i Nur, and says and claims, says it means claims, I am following this verse as my principle in making and writing the commentary on the risale-i Nur. See if you don't see any contradiction to what I claim, reject it. Otherwise, you should understand that risale-i Nur is following the nun of Nabudu as alluding to Nur. Allahu Nurus Samawati wal Ard. We have to see it, yes. I mean, we read supreme sign. What we read? Nothing but what the universe witnesses to. It is source of existence, right? This kind of understanding needs to a little bit what this man is really saying, what this man is really alluding to. We have to think about it. We shouldn't read it literally. We should never read any text literally, especially, but you can really read a literal while you are reading the biology book. There is no illusion there. Physics book, there is no illusion there. They are materialist approaches. But this kind of texts talking about the relationship between what the universe is all about, what the reality of the source of universe is all about. These cannot be read literally, but we can read only literally although we can still extend it, but to a certain extent, fiqh-related verses, it's very, very small amount in the Quran. You can read it literally. For example, Shahr Ramadan, you have to fast. Yeah, I mean, we can say it's eluding fasting means, making the ties very strong. So I have to make my ties with this word strongly. This is absurd. It is not the purpose of the Quran. Purpose of the Quran is to establish the relationship between abd and ma'bud. It means na'budu. Iyaka na'budu. That is the purpose of the Quran. Iyaka na'budu. Do we really? Yes. Only to you we worship. Only you we worship. Why? That is all about the reality of the universe, the reality of existence. Who is my source of existence so that who I can worship? I can say, yes, I'm thankful to you. I'm very pleased with you. And I really declare that all what you exist belongs to you. That is your grace. That is worship. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, thank you. So we can go to the first example is like this. The traveler who had come into the world solely to find his creator and become acquainted with him said to his reason, we have asked everything concerning our creator and have received perfectly satisfying answers. In order to learn about the sun, one has to ask the sun itself. So now we shall make a further journey in order to find and become acquainted with our Creator. Become acquainted with our Creator through the manifestations of His sacred attributes of knowledge, will, and power, and through His visible works, and through the manifestations of His names. So he entered the world. Then the people of misguidance, a second current, embarked on the ship of the earth. The traveler put on the spectacles of the science and philosophy, which does not follow the wisdom of the Quran, and looking in accordance with the program of the geography that does not read the Quran, saw that the earth was traveling 70 times faster than a cannonball, covering a 20,000-year distance in 1 year in an orbit in the midst of the infinite void. So the earth had taken upon itself myriad species of wretched, helpless living beings. He, the traveler, realized that if the earth confused its way even for a minute, or if a stray star collided with it, it would disintegrate, pouring all those wretched creatures into nothingness and non-existence. Perceiving the awesome calamity of the currents of not those who have received your anger, nor those who have gone astray, which is from section Fatiha, verse 7. And the suffocating darkness of, or the unbeliever state is like the depths of darkness in a vast, deep ocean. Quran section 24, verse 40, that we looked at earlier in the introduction. So perceiving the awesome calamity of the currents of not those who have received your anger, nor those who have gone astray, and the suffocating darkness of the unbeliever state is like the depths of darkness in a vast, deep ocean. He exclaimed, Alas, what have we done? Why did we board this terrible ship? Is there any way of being saved from it? Then smashing the spectacles of blind philosophy, he joined the current of those whom you have blessed. From section Fatiha, again referring to that verse, those whom you have blessed. Suddenly the wisdom of the Quran came to his assistance, giving to his reason a telescope. Giving to his reason a telescope which shows reality. It told him to look through it. Through that telescope which shows reality. Look through that. He looked and saw the name of sustainer of the heavens and earth. Quran section 13 verse 16. The name of the sustainer of the heavens and earth, rising like a sun in the constellation of it is he who has made the earth subservient to you, so traverse you its tracks and eat of its sustenance. Quran section 67 verse 15. The sustainer had made the earth an orderly, safe ship and filled it with living beings together with their sustenance, causing it to journey around the sun in the seas of the universe for numerous benefits and instances of wisdom, bringing the produce of the seasons to those who wish for sustenance. Two angels called Thor and Hut had been appointed captains of the ship, and they took it on its voyage through the magnificent dominical regions for the enjoyment of the glorious Creator's creatures and guests. The traveler understood that this showed the reality of God is the light of the heavens and the earth, making known his Creator through this name. With all his heart and spirit, he exclaimed, all praise be to God, the sustainer of all the worlds, and joined the group of those whom you have blessed. So that was the first sample. Brother Ali, please go ahead.
Although we read it very fast, a lot of fine points we missed, but in generally we understood at the very end, it says the traveler understood that this showed all the examples Quran gave, and the commentary on these examples supported it. And the result is the traveler understood that this showed the reality of God is the light of the heavens and the earth, making known his creator through his name. That is what Nursi says, I am doing nothing but this method. Here it is, demonstrated it briefly, and we see that all risale-i Nur fundamentally based on this method. So the risale never says that Quran says so, that's what we should believe. But Quran follows this method. In the light verse, we are following the same method in explaining the reality of this world and concluding that really the Creator is the light of the universe. It means everything in the universe points to it, its necessary existence. That is, at the same time, Nursi says to me, all the commentaries must follow the Quranic methodology. Or you can go back to history and see what has happened. Not many following the Quranic methodology in their commentary on the Quran. So maybe those times people didn't need it. But this time that we are living in, and the following years, not necessarily centuries, following years, I don't know what will happen to the world of humanity in the 1 or 2 centuries later. I cannot imagine with the speed. Now, artificial intelligence is here. That's it. Information information has no value whatsoever at all. Everybody can get any information they need anytime. They don't have to learn it at all. But lots of data is available in front of me. How am I going to analyze it? Only needs methodology. And the author, to me, rightly points to the necessary method that we have to follow, nothing but Quranic method. And when we follow the Quranic method and try to understand what this universe is all about, we end up definitely saying that the universe and my existence, my being in this existence, the purpose in my existence, everything is in order to worship, na'budu, iyake. Na'budu, iyake. All of us is here, nothing but for it, no other reason, no other purpose at all, but to worship you. I'm just replacing this. Na'budu iyake, which is the regular Arabic word. Or we don't say iyake grammatically. If we use Arabic grammar, na'budu ke, finish. That is what you get if you squeeze the Quran's method and purpose of human life. They get together, combine together. Purpose of human life says na'buduke. Quranic purpose is to establish the reality for human beings to come to the conclusion na'buduke. That's so simple. We can go only to this, we can reach this conclusion only by following La ilaha illahu. That's what the Quran is all about. La ilaha illahu necessitates na'buduke. I mean, using the Quranic way of saying it, iyake na'budu. So this is what the verse, the light verse refers to, teaches us. And Nursi says, I'm following this way, nothing else. This is exactly what I understood from all this, what we have read. I don't know if somebody understood something else, I respect, but for me, there is no other way of understanding this at all. Emphasizing on the importance of the methodology of the Quran as a guidance to human beings. And when we follow this method, we come to to what the Quran says and confirm it. This is what we are being educated in the methodology of the risale-i Nur, as an, if you like, follower of the Quranic methodology. I feel very secure in this way, that I'm not going to deviate from my purpose, inshallah. So, if you have any other points and questions, I would love to hear really where I am missing. Am I really conditioning myself? Am I really doing a propaganda, which is very, very insulting to me, to the reality? Reality doesn't need propaganda. Reality needs only to be acknowledged, and this is for my own benefit. It is for me, for nobody else. It is for me. I am concerned only, I'm very selfish. I am concerned only with my security in existence. And I find this La ilaha or La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illahu. and or İyyâke na'budu. That's it. Everything is there. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Ali. I think, yeah, this first example kind of summarizes our purpose here, like as we see ourselves as travelers. I like this solely to find the Creator and become acquainted with Him is really La ilaha.
Yeah. To find the Creator, La ilaha illahu, and become acquainted with Him, İyyâke na'budu ve İyyâke nestaîn. Perfectly fitting.
MashaAllah. Let's hear from Farah. Go ahead.
Just thoughts on the discussion so far. I think in terms of how Brother Ali is explaining his own method of understanding the method of the Risale-i Nur it makes sense from as it laid out. The only questions that come to my mind and that I have to spend time thinking more about is saying that that the methodology of a piece of writing or someone's claim is the Quranic methodology. Two challenges come to my mind. One, it's a very broad claim in the beginning, only because there are several, let's say, authors who write on the Quran or claim to tell you what the message of the Quran is, also make the same claim. So in a way, everybody's making the same claim that my inspiration, my approach, what I'm saying is the Quranic message. So, and then in particular, then my challenge becomes, okay, how do I be certain that this method is, exactly what, because it's very difficult for me to say what the Quran exactly means. I struggle with its language a lot. And so to come to a point in which I'm able to say, okay, Risale-i Nur on one side, the Quran on one side, and say, yes, the method maps onto each other, it seems like a very abstract notion and very broad notion, but I'm trying to understand the method of the author more in order to how can you really be certain to map methods.
It is understood. So if you go and study, which you are doing, you will realize that those people say, I'm following the Quran. They don't say methodology, first of all. They say, I am explaining the Quran with other verses of the Quran. That happened a lot in the history. So they remained within the Quran. Tell me, this author who wrote the commentary on the Quran claimed that I am writing a commentary on the Quran, by following the method of the Quran, which is saying only by method is very exceptional. I don't know who said that I'm following the method of the Quran, minhaj of the Quran, but they didn't really include the witnessing of the universe, as the verse says, Allahu nuru semawati wal ard. Allahu, God, ghaib, nuru semawati wal ard. Semawat wa arz witnesses to it. You see the tejalli there. Reflection is there. No, not, I don't know, I don't remember. And no one says, I am interpreting the Quran under the witnessing of the universe only. Who said that? Give me one name. Yeah, we have to be realistic. But I am not believing those scholars. I am not saying they are wrong. Don't misunderstand. I am saying, and the Nursi is silently saying, by not following the method of the previous scholars, because Nursi says in other parts of his writings, which are related to social subjects, not in the main writings of the risale-i, but I mean, small sections that he wrote some social subjects and problems of Muslim community, like Damascus sermon, like Munazarat, which is reasoning, not reasoning, debates, Munazara, which is translated as debates. So there says, in those sources, he says that Quran must be understood in this way. That's what I understood. The previous scholars were right. In their own time, he uses this explanation. Everybody is the child of his time. So if we lived in 8th century, 9th century, we have to follow Tabari, that perfect source. 12th century, follow Razi, perfect source. Perfect source. Zamakhshari, a little bit earlier, perfect source. If we live it in 18th, 19th, 16th century, we have to follow Ibn Kathir, finish. They were perfect people for their time. For example, Einstein, or let's say Newton, was perfect scientist for his time. Einstein was perfect scientist for his time. Now, lots of new war or somebody, lots of names in the air, everybody knows, these are quantum theory. No one buys into Newtonian physics theory at all. No, but engineers, don't forget this, engineers follow this way. Newton, they don't follow quantum theory. Practically, Newton steals in work. Those people who get engineering education are very much following the Newton theory in their understanding. Usually, I have witnessed that. So, but the Quranic way of approaching the universe is not, how do you say, straight, but vertical. It means universe points to what? Right. But engineering works in this way. This one, the Quran, this verse of the Quran points to another verse of the Quran, horizontal, not vertical. So that's very interesting, attracts my attention. Always when I listen to my engineer friends, that is very Newtonian, isn't it? Understood? That is what I understood, that we cannot blame Newton. We cannot blame Ibn Sina at all, but we cannot really follow Ibn Sina medicine. Impossible. That is what we have to appreciate, people. We have to ask Allah to really reward them immensely, but thank you, Ibn Sina. You served human beings for 800 years. Everybody benefited from your book. What was it? The Principles or something his book was called. Anyway, it doesn't matter the names. I don't remember. So thank you. You are great. But in 21st century, we have to follow, if you like, this method of the Quranic method, which is directly related. Semawat var, pointers and witnesses to its source. Right. Simple. That is what we have to do. We cannot say, oh, you know, in history, our scholars said this, said that, or no, we have to preserve this Muslim heritage or legacy. Yes, we reached this age, quantum age, as a result of what? Newtonian worldview. We turn inward, we developed. Now age is different now. Age is completely different. But if there was no Newtonian theory, there would be no quantum theory. That is also should not be forgotten. It doesn't mean that we have to declare Newtonian theory as the sacred one in 21st century. No one can touch it. No one can criticize it. We have to blindly follow it. It doesn't work. In our world also, we don't follow this way. Shouldn't we follow in our belief system as well? We have to renew ourselves. Creation is continuously renewed. The universe's order is continuously renewed by the people who are investigating and uncovering it. So we have to renew our way of thinking as well. It is so human. It is so, if you like, in quote unquote, natural, the way we are created. Nothing is strange. Thank you.
All right, thank
By
you.
the way, Farah, by the way, I'm sorry. No, I'm one sentence. If you see any commentary which says I am interpreting the Quran based on witnessing the universe, please show it to me. That is my
I'm exploring the question. Inshallah.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't understand, Farah.
I'm very curious about these questions, so I'm exploring it, and inshallah, if I learn anything, I will share.
All right, I think we can stop here, inshallah. So continue next time with the second example. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Bi hurmati surat al-Fatiha. Thank you, everyone.